Hi there, and welcome to the review of the Way Daily Devotionals for the week beginning the 3rd of May. I've got down here that we began looking at the beginning of the week, looking in Genesis 39, chapter 39, beginning of the second verse, that the Lord was with Joseph and blessed him greatly as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. And this week, what we've been looking at is a succession of things which are really quite important for us because they help us understand how God's blessing works. Now, at the beginning, you see, Joseph was blessed. And Joseph, through this blessing of God, became quite a favourite with Potiphar, his boss, if you like. And the same works for us. Because God's favour on us through Jesus actually will manifest itself in favour being shown to us by other people. That's provided, of course, we stay close to God and we stay close to His Word. If you look at Proverbs 3 and 4, you'll understand what I mean, because there it says that you'll have favour with God and man. As we go on, we discover that this blessing that is upon Joseph actually seems to spread around and actually affect other things. And consequently, the whole of Potiphar's estate began to just run smoothly and began to be really prosperous. And in fact, it's put it like this, it's really quite funny. Potiphar didn't have to worry, didn't have a worry in the world except to decide what he wanted to eat. Well, and that's a principle. First principle is we are blessed through Christ Jesus. Second principle is that blessing not only gives us favour with people, but spreads out and blesses them. Remember, you might say, well, that's, but how does that work? Because some of the people that I know, they're not Christians, how can God bless them? But it's quite clear in the Old Testament that God blesses the good and the bad. That the sun shines on the righteous and on the unrighteous. And if he's blessing you, for example, in your job, he's going to be blessing your employer and your colleagues as well, because as you prosper in your job, then the whole of the business or the organisation will prosper as well. And we carried on, and we found that things weren't going to stay that way unhindered by the enemy. And Satan made a move. He actually attacked Joseph through who he was. Now, what do I mean by that? Was Joseph a mean person, a bad person? No, of course not. But he was very handsome and well built. And it actually just happens that at about this time, when everything was successful, and it says here, at about this time, Potiphar's wife began to desire him and invited him to sleep with her. Now, who put that idea into her head? Clearly, it wasn't there right at the beginning. It wasn't as if she was rubbing her hands with glee and saying, ooh, my husband's brought a new man into the house. No, but it was at about this time. It just so happens it coincides with the time that there's the maximum blessing being poured out on Joseph and then through Joseph onto Potiphar's estate. Now, who do you think would really want to mess up Joseph's relationship with Potiphar? Well, it's the enemy, isn't it? It's Satan. And so we need to understand that the enemy attacks. And later on, we also learned that, check down here what we've been through, and of course we see that there are strategies that we need to employ to defeat temptation. And those strategies, how can we describe them? Well, the first thing is we can say no, which is what Joseph said to Potiphar's wife. And the other thing is to call out what she wanted him to do, to call out what it was from God's perspective. And he said that the adultery which she wanted was actually a wicked thing, and he just makes that totally plain. And another strategy was, of course, that he went around as much as possible with other people and tried not to be alone with her. And then finally, the last thing we can learn is that the day came when, for whatever reason, whether he was just not thinking about it, whether he thought that she wasn't around, he did go into the house by himself. She pounced, she attacked him, and it just reminds us so much of what God said to Cain. And that is, if you refuse to respond correctly, then watch out. Sin is waiting to attack and destroy you, and you must subdue it. And it's as if God is describing sin like a wild animal, like a leopard lurking, so that you step outside and then this suddenly springs at you. But that is just the situation that it is, that we all face. So you can see that Joseph's walk of faith, walking it with him, we can just learn so much that is practical and down to earth. I look forward to you joining me next week with the Daily Devotionals. God bless you.